Good afternoon again. My name is Mervi Lamminen. I come from Auntie Solutions, from the company that wants to solve all your problems, also the ones you didn't know even you have. I'm really impressed and happy to be here right after Nokia, not only because we think that we might be same size as they are, but also that they were bringing up the stress things, that 50% of us are having trouble at work with our colleagues due to stress and quite a few days of absence because of that. But hey, here is what we've done and what we're doing. We are a startup, Finnish startup, founded a year and a half ago approximately. Just like every startup, we also want to make the world a happier place. We want to be mental personal trainers. We are focusing our services in everyday crises and in workplaces especially. Here is a couple of our service packages. As you can see, our approach is pretty much starts from the problem. So instead of just getting a time, appointment at a psychotherapist, and then sitting there and thinking, what is it that I need to talk about, you actually pick the package based on the problems or the everyday crises that you have. We all have approximately 10 of these during our lives. Some of us a little bit more, some of us a little less, but there's always some trouble with relationships, with work, colleagues, with kids. Did I raise a teenage monster type of issues that we have to deal with? Some of them people might cope with without external help, but in quite a few cases people would benefit from getting external help, even if though it's not getting severe yet, and that's actually where we want to be. We want to be there before things go bad. We want to be there and provide help for people before they're diagnosed. This picture is giving a good essence of our service. We want this service to be measurable, so companies can get reports how people are doing. We want people who attend our sessions, who take our packages, to set targets, to set goals, so that they can actually see in 5 weeks period whether they are doing better or not. And we want to also engage, for example, sleeper sensor data into the service, which help also the end user to see how actually he or she is recovering or feeling. So this is basically what we have been doing, and I'm really happy to be here with Lähitapiola, Suna, and Suna can tell us a little bit what we've been doing with them and Lähitapiola.
Oh, thank you, Mervi. Yes, my name is Suna Saadetdin. I work at Lähitapiola as a development manager in a unit which develops health and healthcare and well-being services for all our customers, also who are employees and companies. And we have this strategy for lifelong security, and we want to be in our customers' people's lives in every day, in good and bad days. And of course, as you heard from Nokia's presentation, it's very important that we give services which we can give in the early stage, as Mervi also said. And we are very interested about those services which give this kind of point. So this is our strategy picture. And maybe some words about this pilot we had together. So we started with a target group the people were managers and some team leaders, and they had some kind of stress in the workplace, and we wanted them to give early stage preventive supports to handle that pressure of work. And starting point was of course that the people who came to this service, the participation was voluntary. And I think we discussed with the supervisors also in that point.
Yes.
And they asked the employees that who would
Yeah,
be,
who would be willing to
interested
see.
about that.
Yes.
They had some kind of new about that,
Yeah.
that who has problems
Yes.
more than maybe some others.
Yeah.
And they needed some kind of early stage help. They didn't have already depression or some kind any diagnosis
Nothing
of
diagnosed.
mental health, and we didn't have solution to help them.
And that's when we stepped in and started our lonely leader project with these selected leaders. And this is actually the feedback that we got from them, because there was no ready-made solution for them. So of course nobody in Lähitapiola, none of those bosses or team leaders were asking that, hey, can I have this digital service or can I do this or that? They just knew that they had stress, and this is the service that we developed for them, and see how they reacted to that. And we were all really positively surprised how well they accepted the service and what were the results. The feedback that we got from the end users varied from feeling better to also the content. Basically what the leaders did is that they met a psychotherapist 5 times. Digitally, of course, so nobody had to leave anywhere. That was actually one of the really good things. Sounds kind of like small thing, but it's actually a pretty big thing if you have a 45 minutes meeting that you're leaving your workplace to find a parking place and drive somewhere and you're late and everything like that, instead of you just book a conference room, sit down there and start discussing with the therapist.
And if you Mervi remember, it was quite hard to find the time because these managers and bosses, they are very, very busy, and it was very hard to find even this 45 minutes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if we would have suggested that, hey, how about you guys take a ride to downtown of Helsinki and see the therapist there, I don't think none of those would have taken place. And I think that's one of the things in preventive healthcare that when they would have been diagnosed later, maybe then they would have had the time to go and see someone. But now the digital help was enough. They had the 45 minutes. Some of the sessions were taken care by in a phone. When the leader was maybe traveling to see her team somewhere distant, somewhere other location, so the session could be done in the car while she was driving. They reported to get new ideas. They have to feel better control of their own happiness, which is like a great sign of getting healthier, and also something that can be seen by colleagues also. The online tools were actually we got caught by surprise a little bit too, how efficient they were. Like the therapist gave the feedback that, hey, this 45-minute session is more efficient than never when you're sitting face to face. Because the big thing is that when you come to the session, you might be, if you go there physically, you might be 5 minutes late. That's quite a lot. If you have 45 minutes meeting, then you might look for water or place for your jacket or Kleenex or whatever. But 10 first minutes are most likely lost. But when the meeting takes place digitally, the people were really focused on the issue right away when they turned the online connection on. So there was actually more than one ways that it proved to be really efficient. So basically, for example, one of the results that we were really, really happy about was that because we have these pre-questionnaires where we ask how people are feeling, and then we have the end questionnaires, and we compare those, and we get the data that we can also report to the company, which makes the Auntie concept and approach already totally different. But one of the things that we found out is that we were not able to reduce the stress level. For me, I'm not a psychotherapist, I have a master's degree in economics, so I was kind of hoping that, hey, these people would feel so much less stress after those 5 weeks than before 5 weeks. So I was kind of disappointed until our psychotherapist explained the results to me. That's we cannot reduce the stress, because of course we cannot tell the employer that, hey, don't put this much work on these people because they want to do a little less. But what we were able to do is that we could help those people feel more happier, feel more in control of their lives, even though the stress level stayed the same. So basically that was like really eye-opening thing that we noticed in these pilots.
I think it was very interesting result because of course everybody knows that stress is not always a bad thing, but you must have tools and you have to cope with that.
Yeah, and that's especially in our approach, because we only have 5 meetings. So if you know something about psychotherapy, you might know that even short-term psychotherapy usually includes 20 sessions, and we only have 5. So what we want to do is to give tools to the people to how to survive, how to cope with these issues. Then I think one of the important things for us in Auntie is that the digitality is a tool. Like every once in a while, when those newspapers or reporters want to make an article about Auntie, what they usually start asking is that, hey, how is it to do psychotherapy through video conference system? And I think that question is like so out of date. It's just a minor thing. Like anyone can use Skype, so that's not a differentiation factor, or that's not even too much of an interest for us. I think that the interest comes from other things, how that sessions are arranged. Are we able to combine, for example, sleeping tracker data in there? What else the digital tools can do? It's not that you can say that, hey, I am a psychotherapist and I use Skype, so hey, now I'm digitally advanced person or a professional. It's not a solution. The solution has to come from somewhere else, but we need the digitality and it can make it more efficient. So we were really impressed, and we are actually now, like I said, we have 5 sessions packages. We are now planning to reduce this amount of sessions from 5 maybe to 3, just to see if that would be already enough when you have a really focused problem and early enough approach. So then you really don't need.
Yeah, and didn't they have they had some tasks to do between those?
Yes. We have weekly meetings for 5 weeks, and between the meetings there is always assignments, there is some tasks, maybe something you have to try out at work to see how that approach works, readings regarding the issue that
so
we are dealing with.
So it means that one learns to cope with the problems.
Yeah, and also has to do something. It's not like you're going to go there 45 minutes and then you're going to forget about it and then try to remind next time that what we were talking about. So we consider this to be really efficient and time savings is for the company. Now when Lähitapiola's people didn't have to leave the workplaces and could fit those 45 minutes between their other sessions or other meetings during the workday, and of course for the individual user who didn't have to take all that time for traveling around. And I think there is research that digital tools are at their best when we talk about preventive and early stage help, and therefore that's where we want to be.
I think this is quite identical to that. If you think that you should do some lifestyle changes, for example, if you want to lose weight or something, you just digital tools are good, but you need that coaching. Someone who supports your process, and I don't know if this mental thing is it's no different
It's
from
no different.
that
Yeah.
another.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why, for example, we want to involve the sleeping tracker data there, because it is everybody enjoys to see the sleeping data for a couple of first nights. You'll get to see that, hey, this is my breathing, this is my recovery rate, this is everything, how my body functions. But in a couple of days, most likely, most of the people are going to be helpless with the data. That what about from now on? What I'm going to do with this data? And involving the sessions in here, it also helps the end user to interpret the data, just to see how get actually actions there. Hey, this stress level, this recovery level is not good enough, and you should do this or you should do that. So that's.
And of course, if you see that this person has a really big problem, then you should. I think you say that now you have to go to the doctor.
Yes.
So maybe that this can happen also.
Yes,
but
definitely.
not in our pilot.
Yes, not in our pilot, but yes, since we're early stage support provider, if somebody is diagnosed or looks like is depressed already and should be diagnosed, that's when we actually tell them to go to occupational health care and see a doctor, because what we are doing is in earlier stage. We thank you for your time. If you have any questions, I don't know if you can ask questions here, but yeah, if somebody has, we'll be happy to answer, and we'll be on our stand on the other end of the B.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.